Greetings, stowaways. This episode comes with a content warning for discussion of and depictions of alcoholism. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous waters of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Jason Phelps, and I am joined, as ever, by Robbie, the beast from the Black Lagoon, Bellekom.
Ooh, yep.
Sam, the beast from the Blue Lagoon, Burns.
Ooh.
And Ellie, the beast from Burger King, Sparrow.
Burgers.
Just presumably the Burger King.
Yes, I am the Burger King. My secret has been revealed. It's when I rip my face off. It's
just the Burger King mask.
No, there's a burger under the
Well,
crown.
Oh no.
I was still harboring under the impression you were a hill this whole time.
Burger Hill.
Yep, also that.
Just a hill of burgers.
I open my clothes, there's a hill underneath. A hill with a burger and a crown on. I don't know, I'm tired.
We're all
Excellent.
tired today. Hello and welcome to episode 155. I can't think of anything pithy to say.
Yay.
Lemons.
Lemons do
Grapefruit.
indeed have a great deal of pith. And I'm going to take refuge from my lack of inspiration by desperately hoping that I can be bailed out by asking future us, what messages from the present? It's Future Jason with messages from the present. This episode of Flintlocks and Fireballs is brought to you by you. As ever, a massive thanks to our crew members on the Flintlocks Patreon who help keep this ship sailing. There's a wealth of extra content and bonus features for patrons, including regular blog posts, extra stories narrated by the cast, artwork, and a monthly poll for the community to help design an element to go into the game. You can check it out at patreon.com/flintlocks-and-fireballs, link in the description. We are an affiliate of dnddice.com, makers of beautiful specialty dice since 2010. Whether you need dice because you're masquerading as a vampire, calling Cthulhu, or are some sort of Pathfinder gathering the magic munchkins, you can click through our affiliate link in the description and grab yourself or a friend some particularly sexy dice or a particularly sexy leather dice bag. We are also an affiliate of Zavi, fine producers of nerdy garments and handy household items. Remember, you can click through the affiliate link in the description and use code FLINTLOCKS20 to take 20% off clothing and FLINTLOCKS10 to take 10% off not clothing. And that's it for announcements this time. Back to you, Past Jason. Pomelos? Citron, I always feel like a citron is a bit, feels like a cop-out.
Is that a thing?
Well, citrus
Yes,
fruits
it
are
is.
all related to the citron.
Oh.
There's also a pith helmet joke here that is not
There he is.
materialising.
There he is.
But let's not take the pith.
Ha!
Oh, 10 points.
Don't get pissy with me.
Juicy as that conversation has gotten, I think
Zesty.
yes, it's time to it's time to delve into the pit of acid that is Dungeons and Dragons. Citric acid supposed to just burns your eyes. Ow!
Oh, that's really painful.
Strangely exfoliated.
Yeah.
And begin Flintlocks and Fireballs.
Oh, it's all sticky.
Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother chains brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs. In the wake of the costly victory at the Battle of Newmark, the party have had the opportunity to take something approaching arrest and tie up a few loose ends. Corzin and Scamp have gone, whale have gone and had a whale of a time as literal whales, dredging up the new harbour and retrieving a lot of sunken iron in the process. Celestia has secretly tangled with opium relapses.
Yay!
Yay!
The party as a whole have returned briefly to Kion as well, where ostensibly to pick up, well, in fact, pretty much explicitly, to pick up little Corzin. Whereupon they spent a couple of joyful hours and all proceeded to crash, much like the aforementioned iron that had sunk to the bottom of the bay. During that time, Scamp was able to have a distinctive dream with an enemy commander, Commodore Blanktusk, and Celestia was able to have a long overdue meeting with an old friend. However, the morning comes, apart from the fact that it really doesn't, because you're all 8 hours behind and and you were jet lagged. So all three of you wake up pretty much dead on midnight in Kion.
Yeah.
Why is it dark? Where am I?
Molly sort of turns out. Yeah, you're all in separate guest. You're in a couple of different guest rooms. But Molly sort of reads over vaguely, like, sort of does that accidental backhand to your face, Corzin.
No, I just think. Oh, of course, the time difference. Don't worry, dear. It's.
Has got me up on his high figure.
Yeah.
However, Scam, the three of you do wake up, and after a little tossing and turning, realise it's actually now getting quite difficult to get. It's quite difficult to get back to sleep because you've had a full night's sleep.
Yeah. After a while, Corzin's going to get up and get dressed and go out into the rest of the house.
We'll probably run into Celestia in the corridor, I think.
Begrudgingly, Molly pulls herself up and starts doing the same.
Yeah. Coffee.
Yeah.
One
One of these days, I'm gonna have to. Yes, thank you.
Wally, coffee?
Oh, I'm gonna need one.
Yeah. Hang on.
You, as you get down to the kitchen, you see
Scamp, coffee?
No.
Just checking. Right.
You see there is.
What's wrong with you?
Corzin grins.
Such a little asshole.
You see that Justice is awake and sort of gently stroking Stormy, who's snoozing on the counter, and you are very happy to see having heard the stumbling sounds, has started boiling a kettle.
I love you with my whole heart.
Good to see the four of you.
Yes, it's been too long.
You were pretty tired before. I'll get your son conked out a little while back. I'll see you. I'll go rouse my son, and I'm sure he can carry little Corzin back through.
Thank you so much for looking after him.
It's been a pleasure. Nice to have little scurrying feet around the house again.
Corzin goes a bit red.
What? Well, my kids are grown up these days.
That's the cutest you've ever been, and I'm sorry. Yeah, you're adorable.
He mock flexes the tattoos that say Grimani will fuck you up.
Oh, watch out! He's gonna hurt me.
It's somewhat undercut by the apron.
And the cat that he's still stroking.
Yeah, and the cats. Glad to see that you all made it back.
Yeah, you and me both.
Under the circumstances, I know he doesn't appreciate it, but thanks for sending my son back to me as well.
Well, you've taken care of my son. I think it's only fair that I do the best I can to take care of yours.
Well, I will leave the coffee making to you. Let's see what we can do about getting your sleepy little babe done.
Thank you.
You see him step off in some very soft and comfortable looking cushioned slippers and go to retrieve Courage and little Corzin, leaving the four of you with the coffee pot.
And pour the coffee for everyone.
Yeah.
Drink all the
Will
coffee.
someone carry me through as well?
What?
Like, if little Corzin gets to be carried, can I be carried too?
I probably could, but I'm not sure you'd enjoy it.
Little Corzin's a darn sight littler than you are.
No. I want to go back to sleep. It's dark.
Like, if I put you over my shoulders, your horns would drag on the ground.
Yeah.
Mind you, you'd be surprised how quickly you get used to no light, nothing down below. Just bells. Just bell goes off every now and then. It's like, oh, it's time to wake up.
I didn't like it.
Wonder
It
about
was
that,
rubbish.
actually.
I feel weird. It's like my eyes are telling me it's night, but my eye bags are telling me it's the morning.
That is exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Some more coffee.
It's
Here
weird,
you go.
that.
She sips at the particularly strong brew.
I mean, come to think of it, this is not really a problem that I suppose very many people have ever suffered from in the history of, well, not ever, but for a very, very long time.
Maybe you're not supposed to do this. Maybe this is bad.
Well, I imagine if this were a lot more commonplace, this problem would be a lot more commonplace.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah, probably.
maybe we've stumbled into that sort of. You know, they always used to say there are certain magics that halflings were not meant to know.
Specifically
Well.
halflings?
Oh, yeah, people, all stripes.
Oh, fair enough. I just thought this felt a bit mean otherwise.
Well, if this is anything like those, then the solution is definitely breakfast.
The solution is always breakfast. Except when it
How are
is-
you getting there? Especially when it isn't, yes.
bed.
Corzin begins looking for cooking accoutrement.
I mean, you're in the kitchen. It's very easy to start.
Justice's kitchen is well stocked.
It's
Come
very easy to fry up
Yeah.
a quick, basic flat cake.
Yep.
You just get you should just basically start doing pancakes. And soon enough, a slightly crabby-looking Courage is carrying down a still asleep little Corzin in his arms. Time to head back.
That's all I want.
on. Sorry to wake you.
I'm not carrying you, Scamp.
Boo. Boo.
I already have like 5 musical instruments or something. I'm not carrying you two. We would try carrying it off the Clyde. They're fucking massive.
It is
Like I said, I could
unwieldy.
carry you, but I'm not sure you'd enjoy it.
I do sometimes wonder how you get around with all of that.
Yeah, I don't really know either. It just sort of happens.
It just must be
I'd
a
assumed
habit.
it was magic.
Oh no, darling, these are just straps. I've not really done any spells on these. Unless you've done anything, said the Rainbow Spirit. Have you done anything?
Rainbow Spirit sort of flickers around a little bit. Nope.
Ah, no, not magic. Have confirmed.
You're just really used to carrying these.
Yep, I am really used to carrying these. Thank you. I need all of them. They're very important. Especially this drum that I never use. That's the most important of all of them. Sometimes I feel like there's someone piloting me who just forgets it's there.
I like to imagine that a lot of the time you just forget to bring the drum. And sometimes you forget
It's
to...
always on my hip. It's always there.
It's there when you need it, but sometimes you just forget it for days at a time and then...
I mean, it'd be
Coincidentally.
really useful if we were sailing around a war galley and we needed someone to keep time with the oars, but...
You do that with singing, can't you? It's more fun.
Yeah, we're about, I don't think war galleys have been popular for a good 800 years.
Well, it's good to know the drum would be useful for something.
Oh, 300 ago would be the latest. Tie
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, Border,
So I
Border
was-
would still have been using them.
Yeah,
old
I was
galleys.
thinking like Venetians or or Vikings.
Yeah, like at a push 300 years back.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, slight diversion there.
But like, yeah, definitely at their height 800 years ago. Anyway, you make your way down to... you finish off your breakfast, make your way down to the portal chamber, and Scamp, as you use your crushed gemstones. Once again, there's the whipping of air, of wind around the chamber, and then with a line appears in the middle of the circle, spreads out into a circular portal, and you all hurry through at speed into this
Drag
sending
the
room.
cat.
I'll take little Corzin over my shoulder.
Stormy once again is reluctant to go through, but you just
Pick her
barrel
up.
through with her.
And
She-
I'll do my best not to wake him.
Yeah, she springs out the moment she's on the other side.
Sorry. I'll get you fish.
She sticks her tail up and storms out of the sending room.
Show me your butthole, see if I care.
Yeah, little Corzin is like so tuckered, completely tuckered out. Slept through the whole journey back.
Oh.
I will take him up to the stateroom.
As you get up the stair, you push open, like you come out through onto the deck, and it is a bright and cheerful morning. The gulls are
I hate it.
screeching.
Michael, stop.
Murder me.
Okay. That's,
Corzin, fix it.
what do you want me to do?
Make
Eat
clouds.
the sun.
I think I'd probably get heartburn. Tell you what though, second breakfast.
My sunglasses kill me.
And after settling all
Everything's awful.
little Corzin off, and Molly sort of electing to go and join him and get a little bit more sleep in. It is the 24th of Falling Leaves. The day is yours.
That's weird.
What do you wish to do?
Excellent.
I mean, I have a few things I want to do, but I
Yeah.
feel like we probably should start there. I don't know.
I mean, like, you got a few things you want to do. I don't mind us starting with one of those and then switching over, because I think if there's some things you can be doing simultaneously.
Well, I know at least one of mine and Scamp's things involves little Corzin, so
Yeah, we've got to wait for little Corzin
Yeah.
to wake up.
Okay, I will say that little Corzin
I
will
want
wake
to
up.
be irresponsible.
Little Corzin will wake up in the afternoon, but I know that.
I mean, he's properly on like school time.
Oh yeah, he's going to get the other way jet lag.
It's gonna take him like a week. Yeah.
But I will say that in the morning, Scamp and Corzin, I know you wanted to talk to some people about some ships. So you will,
Yeah.
so if you want to do, you can do that if you so wish. While if Celestia wants to take care of other things.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is a dream,
Cool.
which you know about, so that's not till later. Definitely not.
Yeah.
The other one is going to see someone, and the third one is something that I'd probably bring up with you two, actually.
Okay. So I mean,
Ew.
yeah, it's up to you whether you want to bring that up now over second breakfast.
I might bring it up over second breakfast.
All right.
Now
So
that Molly and little
Breakfast.
Corzin have gone to bed. I think it might be a good thing to talk to them about, because it's quite creepy and we've probably forgotten about it.
this is a good point. So second breakfast.
Table fables, yeah, it's got a theme tune. It should sponsor us.
Oh. There we go. I realised I could actually do with. I could have done with bookmarking that page. Okay, so second breakfast today is pecan muffins.
That sounds really nice.
Yep, courtesy of Belle, with honeyed milk as a side.
Excellent.
Sounds really nice, actually. It's a good second breakfast day.
Which phase of the moon are we in?
We are. I think we are in waning crescent at
Okay,
this
cool.
point, because we are past. We are solidly past Belle's time of the month.
It's a thing, obviously, Corzin would have in the back of his mind occasionally in terms of, okay, let's, not make problems for ourselves. Not have Belle going through that, during the middle of something really important would be ideal.
Yeah.
So while we're eating these delicious pecan muffins that our excellent cook has made for us, I have something really creepy that we should probably talk about before I just do it.
What?
I might need friends there to keep a watch. Finger Snap's echo thingy, what gives me extra
Oh, yeah.
powers.
Oh, that's not fun
Potentially.
creepy. I was hoping for fun creepy.
I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
It might be a sort of tie me to a chair, take my weapons and keep an eye kind of situation. But we should probably
Yeah,
do
that
it
sounds
before we next do
sensible.
something dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. Do you reckon it's going to take a similar amount of time to discharging the eye usually?
I've no fucking idea. It could be 5 minutes, it could be a day. So, it's kind of got to be when we're prepared. Because I've never done it before. I can't really pop back in and ask her.
Right, no, you're right. I think we ought to do it sooner rather than later, but...
Yeah, but maybe not right now, because I imagine we have
yeah,
some things
precisely,
we want to do today.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Definitely within the next couple of days, because that could be incredibly helpful in the right
Before we head off again, I was thinking.
Yes.
But yeah, I figured it was worth broaching that as a thing that we should probably
very,
plan
very
for.
good idea.
And being
Yeah.
good and not pretending it doesn't exist, because it might save our lives at some point. So
Yes.
better not, really.
Good job there.
Thank
Right,
you. 10 points to me.
yes.
What are we all doing
Right.
today?
I don't know. We need to talk about these boats and
Yes. I'd
negotiate
also,
what we're keeping and what we're not.
yes. I'd also like to have a word with Fighty at some point, just to see what his next plans are.
Always a good man to know where he is.
Quite, yes. But yeah, I think the first thing we should do is talk about the boats, and more importantly, the crew for said boats.
Out of character, it would be convenient if I did my thing while they were talking about boats, yeah?
Yes.
Alright.
Perfect.
I might... Do you mind if I don't come to the boats?
That's perfectly all right.
I think...
I didn't want to exclude you, but
No,
yeah.
but I think... I think I want to talk to Lady Grace.
I understand.
I'm not
Okay.
sure what about just yet, and I don't know how it will go. I mean, I kind of
Come
half
find
know
us
what about,
afterwards.
but I just... She's been pissed for a week, and I think I should probably check on her. And also just I don't know, I've been wanting to chat to her. It's weird, I'm still livid, but it's there.
Yeah, no, and you've every right to be, but come find us afterwards.
Will do.
Yeah, like, immediately, if you need anything, just drop us a line. We'll be about.
Thanks.
Yep.
We'll do. Good luck with the boats.
Thank you. I have a feeling we might need it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give me... if you know you're going to do something in 10 minutes, I can give you a little rainbow time before you go.
I don't think we'd get there in 10 minutes, to be honest.
I mean, genuinely,
Probably not.
would we? Would it make any difference out of character?
It's not guaranteed.
Probably not, no.
No, okay.
Always worth offering, just in case.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, but best save that for when we're all together.
Yeah. Well, see you later, I suppose.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank
You
you.
gonna be alright on your own?
Yeah, well, you're right.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want Jeffrey?
No.
Marjorie?
Nope. No, I hate them both. Nope. Get them away from me. What? What are you looking at me like that for? You don't like me either. You don't want to come, do you?
I'm surprised Stormy hasn't gone for Marjorie in that form before now.
She's not a bird, is she?
Wait, you made Marjorie a pigeon again rather than a
Yeah.
cat, right?
Yeah.
I'm just double checking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marjorie is indeed a
I
pigeon.
suppose she
In
doesn't
case
smell
I
like a
died,
pigeon.
so she'd be happy.
I know that we could have made her any number of impressive birds, and she's this fat straight pigeon. That's the best.
The fattest.
The fattest.
Yep.
I love her.
Adorable.
I've got the Marjorie that Sam gave me sat on my lap.
Oh.
And
Excellent.
Jeffrey, they're both here.
Jeffrey with his
Excellent.
big staring
Sarah gave
eyes.
me. I love
So, Scamp, you were talking about doing some more transformation magic.
Maybe. But it's fine, I'll let little Corzin sleep. And then I'll ask if he wants to play.
I think that's very sensible, don't you?
Well, yeah, because if he wakes up and he's a different shape, that's not a good thing
No,
to
that would
do
be
to a
very,
person.
very deeply upsetting, wouldn't it? I
It
mean,
would be very rude, and I totally want to do it to someone now.
I mean,
you
consent.
turned into a different
Consent.
creature unexpectedly.
I can assure you, waking
You know
up
what
to
it's
somebody
like.
else is not actually a fun experience.
No, it sounds absolutely traumatic, and it would be awful to do.
I
to
would
someone.
not recommend.
But if someone's an asshole,
That would be funny.
well, I just think it could be practical, maybe in a fight or something, or if we're sneaking up on
Spit
someone.
them like a worm or something.
I mean, yeah.
You remember that time that Ellen offered to turn me into a tuner?
You did turn into a tuna.
You did something. You were a
I don't
tuner.
remember.
Well, yes, but my point being is, if you were to do that to someone on land, it would be incredibly debilitating.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Fun.
Worth considering.
Yeah.
Have fun doing a diplomacy. You're clearly in the right mood.
Yep. Let's go turn some people into. Let's not turn some people into things.
Yeah, let's leave that on the back burner, shall we?
Yeah.
With that in mind, the pair of you head off towards actually a building you've been in before. The actual city council building. You came here once before to visit the archives. And look up the blueprints for Fort Beatrix. It is much more active than it was before, and perhaps annoyingly, perhaps not, you are actually made to wait a little bit. before.
How long?
Oh, roll a d6 for me.
Okay. 2.
20 minutes.
I'm going to roll a wisdom save to see how bored I get.
Okay.
No.
I rolled a 2. What spells have I got?
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
Causing you see Scamp getting increasingly more distracted in the waiting room. There's quite a few other people waiting in here with you.
Alright, you're still not allowed to turn anyone into anything, okay?
Okay. I can't turn anyone into anything else. Okay. I'm gonna... What furniture is in the room?
Oh no.
Well, there are actually, let's see, we have, I mean, there's there's like a number of chairs, the types that are like not the really nice green-backed leather armchairs, but they're kind of like straight-back chairs with green leather on them. There is a cabinet with decorative chinaware. There are some tables. There are some candlesticks not currently lit because it's daylight.
I would like to build a fort using fabricate. Out of all of the furniture, I would like to build a furniture fort.
Okay.
I mean, witnessing this, Corzin is probably going to go, you know what? All we have to do is put it back at the end. I'm happy
Nope.
with this.
Nope, I'm using a 4th level spell. It's
you
a fort now
Oh
forever.
yeah, you think that as they start picking up like chairs and moving them around themselves, you think this is going to be a regular fort, and then they cast fabricate.
Friend, I need
takes-
a hand.
Okay, what are we thinking here? You sort
Needs
of
flags and a drawbridge.
so you feel the friend's presence. What sort of scale are we talking?
A 10-foot cube.
This isn't some kind of elaborate hard sale tactic, is it?
Nope, I just.
You just sort of
Listen, we've been fighting and running around. I can't sit still for however long this is going to be.
you feel the energy sort of gather within you, and then as you release them, Corzin, you are flipped off your seat, as is almost everyone else in the room.
Sorry.
As all of the seats, the tables, the chinaware start to... it's less like they all implode into a point, but more like they're all dragged into a central point and begin furiously disassembling themselves. The little brass studs, like holding on the chair backing, all pop out and form a sort of miniature constellation swirling around. The fabric stuffing flies free as the fabric starts stitching itself together.
So much
The
trouble.
wood, some of the wood just spins in place, and starts cutting itself like a miniature lathe.
Oh wow.
And you watch as within 1 minute, I believe that is the casting time on this one.
10 minutes, unfortunately. That's
Okay.
a long one.
Well, okay, 10 minutes is gonna be interesting.
But I definitely got bored less than 10 minutes into the wait.
Okay, yeah.
Like just
With a
over
2,
5.
it was like probably like 2 minutes.
It is. I still. You know what? I need you to roll 2d10 because you got bored. I want to see how far into the 20-minute wait you got bored.
I mean, I rolled a 2 on my wisdom save. It won't have been very long.
True, but you might have gotten bored at 12 minutes in.
Fair.
What am I rolling? 2d10?
Yep.
That's 6.
Okay, so you were not interrupted
That feels
before
about right.
before the casting is finished. Although plenty of people do start allowing the 3 other people waiting in the room. Two of them watch in like a mixture of fascination and horror. A third one starts loudly complaining, but isn't complaining, but they're not opening the door because everyone's busy. as you, over the next 10 minutes, in what is, like, not supernatural... Like, I mean, it's pretty damn fast. But it's this kind of speed that could be achieved by an industrial era machine about 150, probably actually close to like a 20th century machine could achieve if you had all of the parts in place. Like,
Right.
it's still like it's an impressive feat for 10 minutes, but by the time those 10 minutes are done, Scamp, you are effectively entombed within a 10-foot cube wooden fortress, and it is a proper little fort. You are standing within a little keep with miniature with like a big set of double doors, which are just big enough for you to kneel down and crawl through, and lots of little windows, and like there's maculation, there's crenellation, there's points for there's points for like Thumbelina-sized defenders to mount to resist a siege against. It's festooned with tiny little green flags because that was the material you had. The
Flags.
The brass studs have been turned into tiny cannons. You watch them like heat up, melt, and reforged into the little cannons. I mean, in theory, they could be functional if you packed tiny amounts of gunpowder into them and things, and got tiny enough wicks. I mean, technically the wicks are included. But I will say that, I mean, how functional they are is, Scamp, do you have any tool proficiencies?
They do know a fair amount about cannons, though, because of
They do.
previous
I do
stuff.
have some, but the only tools I know are disguise kit and thieves' tools.
Cool. Then I think this is just a straight... your choice of intelligence or wisdom check, please.
Intelligence. Not that there's much in it. They're both low. Oh, what have I rolled? I've rolled a 14.
Honestly, yeah, like, they don't have, like, a stock to mount them on, but they could serve as functional little hand cannons, potentially. But the thing is, though, in order to fit them to scale on this thing, so they're, like, it's made just from little brass bucklings. So there's 16 of them, and they are, like, Lego cannon sized. For context. So, like, you know, they're a bit small for firearms.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to load them with tiny shot...
Oh no, there were some iron nails in what used to be the cabinet. So there are very tiny little iron balls next to all of them, like we're talking like a little bit larger than like BB pellets.
Right, cool.
So
Okay.
they're little, basically ball bearings.
Once it's all finished, Corzin will say, "All right, Scamp, that's very impressive, but you could have
Yes?
warned us, couldn't you?"
There is an outer ring, by the way. There's like an outer bailey with tiny watchtowers as well.
How many people do you reckon you could fit in there?
The answer is patently 1. And they are already in there.
Well, it's made for one, so if you want to take it, you'll have to fight me for it.
And it's about this point the door opens.
I'm just trying to think of how to best
Okay,
to explain this to...
so
Oh,
we'll
hello.
see what in the name of... I don't
Corzin
know,
did
the
it.
region or the Black Serpent or whatever we're calling these days. What the fucking hell has happened here?
Corzin did it.
Bit of radical redesigning, it would appear, but I am assured it is entirely and 100% practical. I lean in and say, please just charge the expenses to the Kraken Spain.
They seem mollified by this. Okay, you're next anyway, so... if you want to please come through. Scamp, make an acrobatics check, please.
12?
With a little difficulty, you are able to squeeze yourself out of your secure fortress keep.
Jeffrey, hold the fort.
Jeffrey clambers up on top and starts.
Literally hold the fort. That was very happy.
Yeah.
Continue. Well done.
And starts like glaring beadily at the other people waiting, like gesturing menacingly with his spear. Yeah, you go. You go first. It's fine. We'll wait.
Much obliged to you. And
Very
Corzin will
kind.
head on in there.
You are ushered into a very busy office where about 6 different clerks are working to through reams of different types of stacks of paperwork, and amongst them you do recognise the hobgoblin woman you met before. Long back hair and a low ponytail, amber eyes behind horn-rimmed glasses, and a similar waistcoat and shirt to what she wore before, Sen Hui Sin.
Sinwi.
Well, it's good to see the pair of you turn up.
Hello.
Yeah.
Why is my clerk staring daggers at you?
Some people have no appreciation for architecture.
Well,
You glance back and you see the clerk mouthing, "I'll explain later."
on the plus side, the building has a new piece of defensive architecture.
It's just like Huisin gives you like a look for a moment.
In the
And
absence
then-
of the bastion, it could actually be quite useful.
No, it's really not practical. It's made of chairs.
I'm not going to ask. Right, so, on to business. First of all, my thanks and congratulations for the part you played, you and your ships played in the battle 2 days ago. It has... Things may look bleak, but we are on the path to a brighter future here.
I certainly hope so. It was certainly very hard won.
Indeed, it was. More recently, I understand that you have dredged a very great deal of ordnance out of the bay.
Yes, Scamp and I were able to retrieve the majority of the cannon from the HMS Integrity. There's doubtless a large amount of other things that could be salvaged from it, but that would be a long-term operation, I believe.
She is already... she accepts a few sheets of paper from a clerk and is already reading through them. Indeed, it looks like you have sufficient munitions here to, let's see, to refit at least 1/5 rate, to refit the, and indeed enough parts of the Wilma, now that it's been, its remnants have been brought into dock, to conceivably refit it as a 4th rate, enough cannon to refit the 2/3 rates as naval ships. And according to this, you've also salvaged some enchantment plates from the Integrity.
That's correct.
I imagine you will be wanting to lay salvage claims.
You imagine correctly. Although, with regards to the ships, what is the current situation with regards to the forces you reckon you'll be able to muster within the near future for the defense of this city?
Well, your friends in the Scarlet Winds have elected to stay put as an impromptu patrol force for at least the next week, potentially the next 2 weeks. They're somewhat reticent to stay more than a month, and we are in discussion as to remuneration for that. I am working on putting together the finances. I understand that we have the thanks of that we have some thanks to offer to several backers among the Bell founders for providing a little bit of much needed change.
Indeed, and it would take at least that long to refit any of the ships that we've been able to capture anyway.
Indeed.
But
we are also in negotiations with the other immigrant cities whose positions are in league with our own on this, to to pool our fleet resources and muster together a defense. Obviously, I want ships, but if you're going to be making a claim, well, she rubs her chin for a moment. The captain of the Wilma, that would be Captain Stark, has actually expressed an interest in what was her specific words? Has expressed an interest has found that she, having sunk a first rate of the Royal Navy, she's taken a liking to it, and would be.
I can't imagine why. There's a big grin across his face.
And is certainly willing to continue signing on the use of her ship in a martial capacity. However, she does feel that your flotilla exercised a respectable amount of coordination during that, especially after the sinking of the Lightning.
Yes, and I'll be straight with you here. There's a lot of good use I could put an extra couple of ships to right now, but in respect of your situation, and I don't want to speak for the other Scarlet Wind captains, but I would be willing to place the Kraken's Bane at your disposal for at least as long as it takes to get the Wilma refitted, assuming that Captain Stark is intending to commit themselves to the defense of this city on a more permanent basis.
Well, she's already approached me on the matter. As I said, she was impressed by your leadership, and she's made it pretty clear. She'll go with whoever will pay for putting her ship back together. Because she is, to use her own words, here's a line written down. Yep, here we go. Bitch ass broke. On account of all of her cargo went into the sea. And a lot of it was perishable.
Position many in our profession will be very familiar with.
Yeah. She does estimate it will take some, and our own experts agree with this. It's with the provision of the armaments you have retrieved, it will take some 12,000 crowns to do so. I will be blunt. There are 3 ships that I could see us lay that we need to negotiate between the pair of us. Between our parties, and that is the Wilma, the Elk, and the Filbert. Although I imagine those will want renaming. It'll cost the Elk and the Elk, the Filbert. Oh, and of course, I almost forgot about this. The Chancer, which we successfully took possession of.
Now, the Chancer is already fitted out as a ship of the line.
I want
so
the
if you
Chancer.
can crew it, then yes, by all means.
Even the addition... Now, that is going to take crewing and that, and we can help with crewing as well, if we can reach an amicable arrangement. Knowing that there are other ships I can draw on, and in recognition of the personal favors you've done me, as well as your actions, the fate of the Wilma, the Elk, and the Filbert comes down to, especially if you're willing to leave them if you're willing to lend support, should we need it again. Comes down to whether you can afford how many of those you can afford to refit. Obviously, the shipwrights will be willing to work on credit up to a point, but eventually you'd need to be able to pay it all.
Money talks, I quite understand. Sometimes it yells.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, it's 10 grand for the for per ship for the third rates. 12 grand for the Wilma, and the Witch's Tit is going to cost you £1,000 already, and the armor class upgrade from the Integrity will cost you £5,000.
Okay, so doing a quick back of the character sheet calculation here, we have 11,620 banked. We have a further 10 grand and a 7,500, so that's 17,000 that we can bring to bear, but that is literally and the artwork and jewelry that we managed to get, that's an extra 1 to 2 grand. So we've got functionally about 28 grand to be playing with.
Okay, I'm going to say this.
Hello.
The shipwrights will work on half up front.
Yeah.
And if you think you can make up the remainder, they'll take half on completion, which would be in about a month.
Well, we can definitely do that, I think, is the answer with this.
So if you want to put down 16 grand plus, if you wanted to put down 16 grand, actually with the others, it would be, your total amounts would be 38.
Ooh.
So it would be, if you're willing to put down 19 grand now, and you think you can muster up the other 19 grand within a month, or a lot of that, because you might need to get a loan or figure out something.
What, 10 short?
Okay, we looking at this, we'd need six grand.
Loan. We can't go to the bank.
Basically,
I mean,
you can't.
we know the person who owns the bank. We genuinely might.
No, that's the problem.
I
That's
mean,
why
if
we
you
can't
caught
go
me
to
like
the
an
bank.
hour later, I could have asked Lady Grace. That would have been really well timed.
Well, the point being is that
By the way,
can
can we have
definitely.
a loan?
We can definitely put down like a deposit on the ships that we need. That is That is
the point is,
definitely
like, if
doable
you
right
want,
now.
if you felt you were able to do that, you could try and just claim 3 ships now.
I mean, like, we have 28. We need 38. We need to come up with 10.
We have land deeds and Feroz property in Wayne Manor, as if we need to sell
We're
something.
not selling Wayne Manor, come on.
Okay,
stealing
but
it.
I'm thinking like collateral here. Oh God, this is like I feel like I'm doing my taxes. Okay, right.
Do you need to rage quit?
No, it's fine. It's infinitely preferable.
I always need
But
to rage
Do you
quit
need
at
to
least
apply for
once.
averaging?
I have
Are you a
to
market
plan.
gardener?
When I am doing my taxes of a year, I do have to plan for rage quits.
I actually
It's-
did mine
it's-
without a rage quit this year. I was really
Hey,
impressed
well
with
done.
myself.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you should be.
It wasn't bad.
Do you consider yourself the
Okay.
It
creator
was
of
also the
artistic
taxes
works?
for 2020, so my expenses were almost nothing because I didn't go outside. So it was
Yeah.
really easy. It was like, well,
There's a point where it's just not worth claiming anything, isn't it?
I just gave up. I was like, I know I didn't go outside in that time. So-
The one thing that concerns me with all of this is we can make the figures add up for what we need, but once we have them, the upkeep will be that much more. So we would need to get whatever we need to get extra, plus whatever the ongoing upkeep would be. I think it's still worth going for, personally, but
I'm cutting the fucking camp.
Sen Hussein, as you're kind of debating such, working out these details,
yeah.
cuts in. You clearly want these for a specific purpose,
I do.
and I know you're a privateer. What I would say is, I could see a basic mercenary arrangement in that until such time as you take them out, I would be happy to. I would be more than happy to employ them in defense of the port and pay whatever upkeep and wage costs you have.
That would certainly make my life a lot easier, and this decision a mite sweeter. So, if you are willing to go with that, I can front the initial down payment on the modifications for all of these ships.
That is, I'm going to be blunt. Getting ships together is a big part of my budget, but
I would
knowing
imagine
that
also
having some funds free to, take care of repairs and many other concerns is a weight off my mind as well.
Yeah, you might want to consult with Hannah about this, but I would imagine that, and you'll have to forgive me, this is not my particular wheelhouse, but this injection should stimulate the economy, which is going to be very, very important following a mass event like this.
Oh, that is to be sure. All right. So in which case then, if you're laying claim, you can talk to, we've got some people here who can help sort out the details if you're willing to stick around for an hour.
Absolutely.
And we'll get Captain Stark, who I'm sure will be overjoyed to hear the news.
I would like to meet and shake that woman's hand.
I think last I heard she was still getting drunk off the last few days, and I do not.
Well, I would be in her position.
Yeah.
All right. Indeed, she holds out her own hand. Glad
I'd
we could
shake
reach
it
an
firmly.
arrangement. So,
Likewise.
let's talk fine details.
Absolutely.
And Scamp, you feel your eyes glaze over.
Just one important thing in terms of like what she would want us to do for the protection of the city. Is it just like patrol the local waters?
At this stage, yeah, she's asking for
Sure.
patrol and defense while they get the rest of their flotilla sorted out.
It's as I suspected. So just so I'm clear about this, I've put down 16 grand
Okay.
as a down payment on all of the modifications and refits.
If you want the armor class and Witch's Tit done as well,
Yep.
then your total amount will be 38. So you actually need to put down 19.
Yeah.
19 I can do. Yep.
as your down payment. So deduct
So
that.
we need 10 grand, lads.
Yeah, I just need to
Okay.
rub out the correct bits on my character sheet and make sure that I'm rubbing the correct bits out. Okay, so that's okay. Actually, this is fine. We can leave the banked stuff alone and just about cover this. If it's 19 grand, then all we have to do is sell the artwork and jewelry, and the rest of the immediate plunder that we have will cover that. We've got 620 in the bank, and that gives us a month or so to come up with the rest.
Yep, it's 10 grand we need in a month.
Yep.
I mean, 9.5. 9,400 for the precise.
Yes.
But we need 10 grand within a month.
Excuse the rubbing noises. Just getting rid of that.
Timothy,
All right.
don't do that on air.
What are you doing,
So
Celestia?
sorry.
Gosh, golly.
I'm rubbing the stuff out on my character sheet. That
You said excuse the rubbing noises. You don't say that.
Not with our audience. No,
No.
I'm sorry. I'll go away and think about what I've done.
Okay.
Okay.
So switching over then.
Oh no, I don't know how this is going to go.
So
Hey, it can't go worse than rubbing noises.
you make your way to Lady Grace's townhouse. Once again, you can see that.
I think I do just turn up.
Yeah, you
Probably.
just
I
turn
don't
up.
I think it through.
Knock on the door. A little bit of a pause. The door opens, and you see Vivienne, Sancti, pop her head down.
Hello.
Good morning to you.
Sorry I was an asshole to you literally yesterday.
It was a hard day.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Sorry though. Thank you. Is she about?
She is. Why don't I take you up and would you like a cup of tea? Coffee?
Coffee. Sure. Coffee. Yep.
I'll make sure some coffee
Yeah.
is brought.
I've had a couple on the road. Can feel it. Just so you get a slight whiff of whiskey that's, feels about right.
You are shown in. The place looks like a bomb's hit it, because that's pretty much what happened. That's actually a good point. I just need to remind myself of this. Yeah, the bomb, the carronade shot doesn't directly seem to have impacted this house. For the most part, but there are cracks in the walls.
Ooh. That's no joke, is it?
You can see where dust has been swept up from where the plasterwork has broken. There is one point where a wall has split, and you can see what appears to be a partially deployed spike trap of some sort has come out and bent.
Huh. Okay.
Neo, and now that you look at it, you can see that this was clearly some sort of very aggressive anti-burglar affair set up. Design, like, clearly there was a triggering system based around the window, and that should have gone off in the event of forced entry, but the foundations of the house cracking appear to have set that off instead. However, you can easily imagine how, in a not war-torn environment, this parlour would have been a lovely room with fine carpeting, floral embroidered couches, lots of greens and yellows in its aesthetic. Fine woods. And Vivienne leads you through the back parlour and coughs loudly. You hear a slight clinking sound. Yes, Vivienne? Miss Stardust is here to see you.
Hello.
Oh, fuck.
You alright?
Oh yes, darling, coming in. And Vivienne leads you round a corner.
That was such a lie, wasn't it?
And you can see where a door has come off and has been replaced by a curtain. Then you can see the door has been gently leant against the wall.
Oh no, it's just sort of leaning there.
Yeah, it's just like it's been taken off, put to one side. Not really sure what to do with it yet. And you see there is a study beyond with bookshelves. The books have been placed back into the shelves, although some of the shelves have gone awry in places. So it's a slightly more slanted and cockeyed sort of feeling to the room that it originally had, with a beautiful mahogany desk, and a little lantern with a shade. There are Tyrian blinds to let in the light. And you can see there is, once again, the figure of Lady Grace, sat behind the desk. A high elf woman, blonde, straight hair, held back with a braid. Blue eyes. She holds herself elegantly, fair skin. She's wearing a similar, I'm going to say actually a blue dress, pale blue dress today. With a silver necklet, jade pendant, 5 rings on her fingers, and is holding herself up quite still. And you can see there is a cup of an amber liquid that could be mistaken for tea. It's in a teacup.
Oh no.
Next to a teapot. And she blinks a little. Celestia, darling.
Hello.
I'm afraid you've caught me a little out of sorts. You can see that she has ledgers in front of her, paperwork.
Has Viv brought us coffee yet?
Viv has made herself scarce and is still to go prepare some coffee.
Do I have a cup? I do. I have a cup in my bag.
Yeah.
I take out the cup. I pour some whiskey into it. I just thought I might join you.
Oh, darling, please. I have another. I have to let me get you some Chinaware at least. What was this being? Sorry. Let me get you some Haldonisware at least.
Okay. How fucked is she?
She's in that state where
she's never called me darling.
Roll a wisdom check.
Okay. Do I get advantage because I'm always pissed?
Yes, you get advantage from experience.
Natural 20.
Yes!
She's in that sweet spot where she's clearly pissed, but able to pretend to people who don't drink a lot that she's not pissed. Just drunk enough that she can convince herself that she's not that drunk, and can still hold a pen and make accurate notation.
I think Celestia's actually a little bit less drunk than her, interestingly, because I think Celestia's had a couple and has a light buzz, but I don't think she's actually quite that far gone.
And with a natural 20, you can tell she's managed to maintain this state for quite some time. Probably at least a few hours.
Have you drunk any water recently?
Viv does keep bringing me some. And
No judgment, you're just going to regret it in a bit if you don't. You can't pretend you're sober to the drinker, darling.
I'm sorry, I really was not expecting visitors today.
I didn't warn. It's alright, I'm not exactly sober either. Just carry on.
It's okay. Well, once they say company's as good as the rest.
No one has ever said that.
I suppose not. She sips from the teacup delicately.
Tip the teacup that she's off
Yeah, she passes you a separate teacup.
with also whiskey in it, I guess.
Yeah, indeed, she does pick up and quite steadily pours you from a little as well. From the sniff of it, it's a nicer whiskey than you've got.
Oh, that's good.
They
Large sip.
yes, it's Cairnese.
Right.
They the halflings, they usually keep the good stuff for themselves. Yes, the halflings usually keep the good stuff for themselves.
Yeah, usually. How are you?
Doing?
Get a coin out. Is there heads or tails on Calcinea coins?
Yes, there is.
Heads or tails?
Tails.
Right. Tails, you go first. Heads, I do. Fuck it. Shall we say...
Odds for heads. Odds for tails.
Odds for tails. Oh, bad luck, darling. You first.
I mean, obviously, I'm swimmingly. I'm
You're
going
swimmingly.
swimmingly.
Yes.
Well, you're not. On a scale of 1 to 2, do you really want to know? How honest would you like me to be?
I don't think I came here for lies.
Well, I've spent much of the last week betraying my oldest friend and dismantling my life's work.
Sorry.
I mean, under the circumstances, I feel like I'm the one who gets to be sorry here. But,
Yeah, I mean, I'm still livid. I've just forgotten for a few minutes.
sorry. Doesn't really cut it, does it?
Not really, but you know, I look like her, so I suppose I'm getting my own back today by coming here.
She takes another sip.
Take one too, it's like a competition at this point. It's really good whiskey.
It is.
I'm sorry I've had a bad week, but it's still the right thing to do.
She opens a small little, like, what basically looks like a cigar case next to her. And you see there's a small gold ring in there.
What's that then? Did you marry her secretly?
No, it's the...
Sorry, I was mean.
I normally wear that if it's to stop getting poisoned, but you can't get drunk while you're wearing them.
That's bullshit. More whiskey.
Actually, yeah, which makes a point. She has 4 rings on today rather than 5. I suppose if I really wanted to sober up, I could put it on.
Don't you dare. I'm not 100% sure what I came here for, but I know I can't do it sober. And if you were sober, that wouldn't be at all fair, so... Shut up.
Do you know... I'm sure normally I remember what the history of that ring was, but I can't for the life of me recall. All I know is that the previous owner had it because it was the only thing that absolutely always worked on hangovers.
Oh god, that would be wonderful.
It's it's an artifact that stops you getting poisoned, and they use it as a hangover cure. I realise that this is the pot calling the kettle black, but what the fuck is wrong with rich people?
I'm sorry, do you even fucking see yourself right now?
Yes, I'm well aware.
You literally run the World Bank.
Ran.
Oh, fuck, yeah, ran the World Bank.
Now I'm...
Now you're poor as shit.
Oh... What there's still enough to fund this revolution. Just about.
When does it stop?
The money?
No, the fighting.
When Syria looks at its balance sheet and realizes it will cost them more money to replace the lost soldiers and equipment than they will lose in tax revenue or in trade. That is when it ends.
I suppose the people balancing the books have never been in a fucking battle, have they?
She sort of tilts her head a little, shrugs one shoulder. In my experience, about a third of them. They tend to promote a lot of military adjutants end up there.
Isn't the world a horrible place?
Yes. That it was sort of the point. To try and... She does a sort of gesturing in a circle with her fingers for a moment. Fix that.
What, the point of what you and her were doing?
We were trying to break a system.
Well, she made a new one instead. Oh, you're this pissed, actually. How aware were you of the avant-garde?
I believe I said before, I was aware of its existence.
Didn't know how bad it was.
But... Yes, but... She took care of the details.
Sounds like she did that a lot.
We're both very detail-oriented people.
Well, good for you. Sorry, I didn't come here to be a dick.
No, you came here to drink my whiskey, obviously.
I did. That's what it was for. A scarily large sip.
I'm afraid you have... You do have the advantage on me today.
How do you mean?
She vaguely gestures at the alcohol.
You are a few more deep than I am, aren't you?
Yes, I'd say that I'm certainly more than half cut. But the books do need doing, and
Are you in a state?
I was raised by bankers. I could balance books while balancing on a tightrope, darling.
Sorry, it's really creepy how the darling comes out when you're pissed. What a usual word for you.
No. Old. She gestures vaguely into the thingies.
Thingies? Old thingies.
Speech. Pattern. Thingy.
Did you used to be more of a darling kind of person?
I
When you were with her? Back in the day?
You could say that, yes.
I haven't got the darling from her, have I?
Oh, it's more of a high society thing. I've no doubt it just sort of soaked in at the sides, or I don't know if she even still uses it anymore. It was a fashion hundreds of years ago.
Oh, I mean, she never did with us, but that's not a surprise, is it? Has she figured it out yet, then? You've broken up with her? I was
She
wondering where it was all
narrows
at.
her eyes for a moment there.
Well, you have. What other words do you want me to use?
Yes, my actions are being countered, and it is now a contest.
Right. Anything I can do to help you win?
Oh, no. This is, on this battlefield, you simply don't have the skills.
That's fair.
You're certainly capable enough on a real one.
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers. Never have been, actually. You talked about taking over the avant-garde last time.
She nods.
You talked about me helping, or maybe running the thing. What does that look like? How do we do that? Where do we start? I don't know if I want to, but
She rubs her eyes for a moment.
call me asking you when you're this many in revenge, I suppose.
Duly noted. Alright, here's what I know. The avant-garde are coming.
What, here?
To Sunder. It would appear, I've looked into it, and from all across the world, they have been manoeuvring their contracts, or, in some cases, escaping them, if needed. Not breaking them, but being outbid, bought off their prior contractors, and are making their way to Sunder. Which,
Not all of them.
as far as I can tell,
That's
yes.
a scary number.
It was, would have thought 2 weeks ago, a relieving one. Because I'm certain, or at any rate I was, that Navarro's bringing them here for this fight.
Oh.
I told you, I believe. I'm not sure. I am quite drunk. This is...
What, to fight on our side?
We wanted to make a place that was free from kings and queens and empresses.
Oh. Is that it?
Is that it?
Yes. Is that it? Is that all you think there is? To a place being free? You don't want to do away with the hierarchy?
Of course I
People
do.
being second-class citizens? People not being free, any of that? Or just the kings and queens? Is that a problem?
Of course I did. That's sort of the point. The whole point of bringing Drow out of the Underdark was to take the Underdark out of the Drow.
Right.
How many... I don't know what it's like. She throws up her hands. I only remember the plan when it was conceived of. Decades ago.
Didn't check in since.
Remotely. Wasn't really able to go down and pay a visit.
Oh, you were perfectly able. Just didn't want to.
I had my side of things to do up here.
You telling me you didn't have people to take care of it while you were gone? Come on. Go on, say it. You're drunk enough to, whatever you're thinking.
Fine. She leans forward a little.
I give her a grin.
How much do you trust Corzin?
Implicitly.
Excellent. How often would you check in on him? If it was his job to take care of something that you trusted him with. If you were far away, if you spoke...
He was alright.
If you'd made sendings to each other, would you take his word?
Yes.
I may have misplaced my trust. But if you want to know why I didn't check, that is it.
I suppose it's just hard to hear. Because when it comes down to it,
her eyes.
for being really disgustingly personal about it, what I see when I look at you is somebody who could have helped. But it didn't. I know that's simple. There's a lot going on upstairs and all that shit. But, she caused a lot of people a lot of pain. Me included. There was someone out there who knew her, and knew about us, and knew about the avant-garde. And you didn't help. And it's hard. And I know if I could, bring myself to trust you in some fashion, that we could actually have a decent chance at overthrowing her, which is no mean feat. But I don't know if I can fucking look at you. I don't know if you can look at me. Because again, I look like her. And I would imagine I'm a reminder of a lot of things.
You have no idea.
Maybe I should go.
Well, you've poured out the whiskey. At least stay till you finish that.
Fine. I'm an awful drunk, you know. You're angry.
It's one of the reasons I usually wear the I usually wear the don't get drunk ring. But I wasn't expecting visitors today.
You know what, though? I was doing sendings with Corzin, etc., and checking in on him, and I'd left him with something. I think I'd know him well enough to know when something was off. Now I'm being mean.
Yes.
I'm just being mean. This is stupid. I'm sorry. I was actually hoping to sort of check in with you about where we were at. Maybe this is our answer.
Celestia,
Yes? What?
there are a dozen things I'm sure I could say to be hurtful back. I do not deny that your words have merit, and that I have failed to see some very critical things in my quest to make some difference.
Could still do it, you know. Make some sort of difference. Well, it's just
I'm sorry, what do you think I'm doing? What do you think I've been doing for the last 200 years?
I wasn't trying to be patronising.
And yet,
Sorry.
you clearly have a skill for it.
You know, this sucks, actually. I didn't...
Because No. This sucks because...
Because I didn't come here to be small and mean. And that's what I'm doing. Because I trusted you and... you hurt me and you're being an asshole and so am I, and it's been a really fucking bad couple of days and I should have come at a different time because this is shit. I wanted us to get along. Actually, I was hoping that maybe we had a chance at something of the decent relationship we were starting to have. And I was really livid, and I was going to try and move past that, but maybe I'm just still really livid, and maybe we just shouldn't do this. But now I don't want to leave it like this, so I think we both need to stop being assholes.
She turns the cigarette case towards you. Fine. You first.
Does it have cigarettes in it?
I mean, there are actually cigars in it, but it also has the stop being drunk ring.
Are there two of them?
No, there is one.
I'm not as drunk as you.
Fine. Viv, actual coffee, please. She pulls over the case, puts the ring on, and just sort of. Clutches her head. Sorry, this is going to take a minute.
Take your time.
Oh. The worst side effect of it is you really feel like you need to pee. I can feel my kidneys burning. Ow!
Sounds lovely. Will you still be sober if you take that off?
Yes! I will.
Okay,
That's
so we
why
literally can take it in turns.
Oh, yes.
Right. Maybe we should. Maybe that's fair.
That's sort of what I was going for.
Yep, I'll go next. Give you a longer
Okay.
recovery time.
Oh. She rubs her eyes. Takes the ring off. Offers it to you.
Solidly hesitate for a minute. Okay, fairness. Put it on.
It's fine at first, and then it's like you can feel your head clearing, but like not exactly. It's like weird. It's not just like it's a bit like a fog receding, and they're going down into the small of your back, and two pinwheels of agonies. Your kidneys start working overdrive.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's awful.
At this point, the curtain comes pushed aside. I see you have decided to act like grown-ups now. And here's
Viv, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Viv. She pulls out two small dark cups of Ferocian style coffee. Like the thick
I
black
don't say
stuff.
another fucking thing while Viv's still there.
You see Lady Grace
We're just
just
wait.
shoots her a glare. Viv stays for a good 10 seconds before turning and leaving.
Ow. Okay, I think that's done now.
She holds out. Holds out the cigarette case, and then after a moment sighs and puts it back on.
Ooh, so the shit, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. Takes the tiny coffee cup and takes a sip.
You really are a horrible drunk, though. You're worse than me.
Do you know, I actually used to be a horrendous alcoholic.
Really?
Stopped drinking. Well, sorry to bring it back to it, but I drank consistently until things started with Naivara and the Grand Plan and all of that, and it was before I got the ring, actually. Just had to give it up.
How did you know? That it was a problem, I mean.
Oh, I didn't. And then when I couldn't get any more, when I was in those Saints' awful woods,
Oh shit, yeah.
I started to get just cramps and fevers, and by the time I came out of that, I realised that actually I couldn't stand the sight of it anymore, but I really wanted it, and that was... Anyway, since then, when I have to drink at functions, I have the ring for it. You get the taste, but none of the buzz.
Well done. Sounded sarcastic, I did actually.
No,
mean it.
I could tell.
I
I'm
think
sorry
I'm still
for
backhanding
being
you.
cruel.
Me too. You started it.
I am genuinely horrified by what has happened.
I know, and I shouldn't have rubbed it in. You were just sat there all drunk and nasty, and I got really angry. It's not an excuse. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm still
sorry as
livid,
well.
but I'm still sorry.
It's been hard for me, but I can only imagine how much harder it's been for you.
I don't know. I don't think it's a competition.
No, I suppose it isn't.
How much of this is front that you're putting on?
Don't get me wrong, I'm very used to front, but I'm not trying to put any on.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to do the best I can with the situation we find ourselves in.
That's actually what I came here for. I was hoping we could salvage something, sort of gesture between us both. Which feels pathetic because I'm so fucking mad with you. But yesterday was really, really bad. And, I suppose I thought...
Sorry.
I suppose I thought trying for some kind of relationship with you was probably more important than staying angry. I really didn't come here to be mean. You just made it very hard. It was nice. Just trust an elf who was older. It was nice to have somebody who got it. I don't know. I thought maybe even we could bond over my mother being an asshole, potentially. I don't know what I thought. Probably all stupid.
I have some things to say on that. I suspect initially you will get angry, but I ask for you to listen. If you would.
I nod.
When I first saw you, I was surprised. To say the
That
least.
seems... that seems... pretty fair. Somebody with all this and also very much her jawline. Must have been kind of a lot.
I knew you had disappeared, and they're not the precise circumstances. And I was shocked to see Navarra's daughter. And I was curious. I wanted to learn more about you. And my first thoughts as I got to know you were Saints. She reminds me so much of her.
Visibly, shudder.
But as I got to know you more, I found there were differences, to say the least. And having had a few days to look at things in another light, I can see that I was projecting some aspects onto you there.
Makes sense.
You do share some traits.
Dare I ask what?
You both are proud in a way that will let you submit that pride if you think it will get you an advantage.
I'm not sure I can anymore. I think I've run out. I used to be like that. Then they tried to take me underground again.
You're both driven by a conviction to do the right thing.
Just have varying opinions on what that is.
However, Navarra's came from a place first and foremost of principle. She knows intellectually what the right thing is, and she strives for it. Yours comes from a place of empathy. You see people, and from that you've found your right thing.
It's actually kind of nice to hear. I try. I don't always get it right.
You both hate the Underdark.
Really?
With every fibre of your being.
That's weird. That's very weird. Why did she stay so long? Fucking nutter.
The reason I stayed on the surface, in part, there were things I could do up here that she could not, and things she could do down there that I could not. You wanted to know why the Ebon Guard... more of what I said. I mentioned before why the Ebon Guard was conceived. It was to combine two goals. One, to build an army that would allow us to resist the inevitable retorts of other nations when trying to carve out a place that was different. And 2 was a way to bring Drow out of Ariadne.
Wow, she really strayed. You have any idea the loyalty brainwashing you get in the Evangard?
I believe you have made me aware of it.
Because they're not coming out to be part of surface society, they're coming out and thinking they're better.
That is why I broached the conceit of you leading them. You've seen the surface. You've seen that truth. And you went through it and kept your mind.
Not at first.
There have been
About
Evangard.
6 months, I don't remember. Straight afterwards.
There have been Evangard on the surface now for over 30 years. I wonder how many of those old guard, now that they're no longer underground, no longer kept with a watchful eye, feel as they did when they completed their training. Perhaps, if the right person were to speak with them,
I wouldn't want to make a new system. I don't want them to be a group of people to lead. I could help. But I'm not going to be the new person giving them orders. I'm not going to be the new person they're brainwashed for. That's not how this works.
they will need someone to look to as they are being decommissioned then.
Fuck makes you think I'm qualified? I know I was one, and I know that, you know, person and that, but I'm not, like, okay. I don't know where you got that idea from.
Because I've met you. And
I'm addicted to opium. I'm all over the place. I haven't been sober in a while. What makes you think I could help?
the empathy. Because you care. And they would listen to you. Some because you're a fellow drow, some because you're a Rothanol and they've been trained to listen to Rothanols.
Not ones like me.
Nevertheless, you could lead them out of that dark place. It would not be easy. It will take time. I'm not asking you to make that decision here while we are both desperate to pee. And
You can just be right. I don't. Not here. You can just go and do that.
you've got. You're feeling it too, though, aren't you?
Yes,
Yes.
I am. It's very distracting, actually.
It will be at least 2 weeks longer before any of them make landing.
Oh, it's not long. Is it St. Gregorsville?
I believe that's one of the places they're going to be
That's where my
collecting.
dickhead sister is. Apparently.
The
Well,
earliest.
she's going to be. I've got a spy. That happened. Not sure how.
She nods. Well placed.
Thanks. Did a really weird sending. Worked.
I find one finds spies through the strangest of means.
Yeah.
It is a thing to consider. That is all.
Well, it's not like it's a short-term thing.
No. And it sounds as if your sister would most certainly not agree with you.
No.
I haven't heard much about Quelena. But from what I read in the letters between the lines, she sounds like a bitch.
Cat with a mouse. Spider with a fly. I think that's the best description.
Very drow?
Yeah. The kind who enjoys it.
Ah, that is disappointing.
Always thought she was her favourite, actually. Well, sometimes Adrian, but he was a boy, so it didn't count.
That is one of the things we both looked forward to getting out of. Or getting her and hers out of. That whole backward system down there.
Ugh. Yeah, it's stupid. You know, if she was planning on getting us out, she could have done a better fucking job of not indoctrinating Adrian so hard he was almost dead. If the plan was out, she's really not done well with him. Basically dead inside, as far as I can tell.
As I said, your mother reached her sense of what was right based on principles, because she has never been strong on empathy.
No, that she hasn't. Glad we agree on something.
There's a faraway, slightly sad look in her eyes for a moment. And you see her reach for the teacup and then adjust and reach for the coffee cup instead.
Well done.
Oh, I wouldn't get anything but taste from it. I'm still wearing this damned ring, but thank you.
I eye my teacup, but don't.
Takes a sip of the coffee. I swear Viv gives me the silty stuff at the bottom on days like this.
I've got to say, it's a lot as a coffee. It's kind of like mud.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. That is the correct way they drink it in Feroz.
It's extra rough, though, right?
It is, though.
I feel like she'd had enough of both of us.
I know that she did not bring the glass of water you're supposed to get with it. Dead silence.
I was a cunt to her yesterday, actually.
Don't be a cunt to Viv, please.
She told me everything was cheerful and the sun was shining. Just after loads of people had died, and I'd spent the night sewing up people I love. So I think I can maybe be excused in this one instance, but I will really try not to in future, because I do actually like her. She is great.
No, I probably would have slapped her as well.
I didn't slap her, which I thought was very restrained, actually.
Let me tell you, I've come close the last few days. I think she's being cheerful as a sort of petty revenge. In fact, I'm certain of it.
I feel like Viv's like humming in the background. You can just hear her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your passive perception?
Oh no. It is. How the fuck do you work out passive perception? I can
10
never
plus your
remember.
perception score.
15.
Yeah. Now, Viv is not even subtly behind the curtain. Giggling to herself.
Fuck off. There's a grin in it.
Thank you for coming.
Probably wasn't the better day to.
Well, we'll have to sober up someday.
Do we?
Unfortunately. Yes. I'd lend you the ring, but I genuinely do have to watch out for poison.
I wouldn't take it anyway.
Just so you're aware, your mother has a matching one.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to laugh. I'm just picturing you like, you know, those little like half-heart lockets.
No,
It says best friends. It's best on one half
we
and
got
friends
them
on
like
the other.
we got them 5 years apart from separate
I'm so sorry, that was so inappropriate.
They were part of a set of 10.
Oh, right, okay.
They got broken up. I think some dwarves made... The dwarves made them. It was
Do
a
you
whole...
have matching half-heart lockets with her? I need to know. Oh my god, you do. You do, don't you? Do you have... You have... I can see from your expression that there's something you're not saying. What do you have with her?
I do
Come on,
not
tell me, let's have a
have
laugh.
matching half-heart lockets with your mother.
Matching socks. What are we talking?
She
Swords?
One moment, I gotta roll something here. She takes a sip of the coffee. You see her cough into it slightly.
It's fucking swords, isn't it? Let me see your sword right now.
Roll a persuasion check.
That is 30. Fuck.
Fucking bards.
She puts her hand, she sort of coughs a little, puts down the coffee cup, puts her hand on the back of the bookshelf behind her, and with a fluid motion flips down a false bookshelf and immediately raises, not quite into the air, but if she'd wanted to, she probably could have tried to stab you across the table. A rapier blade. A full rapier. You can see it is It's actually an old design. Like, it is a proper sort of probably 14th century looking rapier. There are dwarf marks on the point where the blade meets the hilt, and it has the look. It looks beautifully balanced.
Does it look familiar? Does it look like my mum's?
It looks very familiar.
Yeah, and she didn't take that on the quest to Golden Crats and Guildenstern, because she did not to Golden Crats and Guildenstern, to the place that we went with, where Ellen was, but wasn't.
Oh, the
Institute. Thank you.
The Institute.
She didn't take it there because she practiced her sword drills with my sword. I remember.
She
took
did.
another
She
one.
just didn't show you.
She didn't show me.
Oh, she had it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just in case.
But she keeps this one hidden.
That is exactly like hers. Oh, God. How romantic.
Was actually crafted for a pair of lovers.
Not you two.
No. A doomed engagement.
Whose doomed engagement? Yours?
No.
Hers?
Neither's. We acquired them afterwards. A high elf and a dwarf.
Huh.
Their clans disputed the match. But one was a skilled enchanter. The other a great smith. The smith made the weapons with almost the enchantment completed. One was finished, and then the other. And before they could be exchanged on their as their wedding vows, they were killed.
By who?
The members of their family who did not agree with such a match. The blades, well, one was stolen and took some time to recover. The other vanished for a time until we found it.
Anyone you knew?
She shakes her head. About a century before I laid my hands on these. But they do hold a matching enchantment.
What is it?
Any wound made by this blade cannot be healed by magic.
Huh. That would track.
She carefully returns it to its hiding place and seals up the...
How
That would make sense for
romantic.
hers.
Jesus.
What was that?
How romantic. What a weird romantic.
So fucking weird.
Oh, it's Drow sword culture. You display your love by giving someone the means to kill you. Just
I
they
mean,
won't.
this was a dwarf and a high elf in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, Drow weren't even in on
No, it was
the-
a weird
in on
fucked
the
up
bacon.
Romeo and Juliet situation.
But presumably that would
We've
have been
never
the
done one of
sentiment
those
in
before
the...
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Never was there a tale with more cats.
Grim.
Romantic. Yeah.
In its own way, two master crafters.
Master murderers. Murdering people.
Swordsmiths usually don't have an issue with that, with the existence of their weapons. I mean, it's sort of a prerequisite to doing it, you know?
You
But,
go on a big killing spree for their honeymoon.
well, I imagine the intent was to fend off their disapproving family members who
That can
clearly
get
were
behind
out
a
for
little
their
bit more.
blood. They just didn't have... She taps the ring of poison resistance at one of these. Or two of these, in fact.
Ah, shit. Yeah.
Yes. It was actually the same family that then proceeded to produce the 10 rings of poison resistance after the blood feud started. And all of the poisonings.
And then you got matching ones of those too.
She
So sorry.
downs the rest of her silty coffee.
Oh, I bet you regretted that, didn't you?
Yes!
I'm so sorry. It's just I've been so fucking terrified of my mother forever. It's a little bit funny. I don't really know where we go from here.
Well, I've already offered you a drink, but I think we're past that.
We could...
I could actually offer you a cup of tea.
Yes, on one condition. That you make it and we don't have to look at Viv's stupid face bringing the tea in.
You hear a snort and a giggle. I'll get the tea. And
I go with her, like we go and get tea to the kitchen.
and why don't you tell me some stories about your friends?
Okay.
And you take tea.
I think we talk about, like, friends and pasts and...
Most of Grace's story is actually, you get the feeling that she doesn't have a lot of close friends besides Viv. And she's obviously avoiding the subject of Nivara. But she does tell you a lot of lighter tales about various, like, high society or diplomatic shenanigans. Much so-and-so, much... the Duke of such and such was caught shagging the Viscount of so-and-so. Type stories.
That's loads of really weird questions.
And we'll check back on what transformative shenanigans the rest of your party is getting up to.
Who's been shagging who?
After these, no doubt important, messages.
Hello and welcome to Lord Jeremy's Scandalous Society pages. News has reached us that Lady Anne Gotherington of Orcrest has had criminal conversation with a rhododendron bush. Bad news all round for her gardener, while Lord Winston Wordsworth of Wainwall has been caught liking, rating, sharing, and further subscribing to Flintlocks and Fireballs. More on this scandalous debauchery as our informants come in.
And welcome back. So, Scamp and Corzin, after like a solid hour or so of bureaucracy, you are at last released from administrative discussions and have free roam of the city. So, yeah, what would you like to do next?
Well, that was both exciting and thoroughly dull.
I need sweets, or
Alright.
I'm going to set fire to something.
Alright.
Not really, I don't mean it, but that was awful, Corzin. How'd you do it?
Well, I've always been one of thinking if a job like that's going to be done, I'd much rather get it over with sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, but awful.
Was there anything you wanted to do?
Sweets. And
I'm
could do
sure
with
that we can find somewhere around here that's intact that still says sells sweets.
I could do with some like map books and books about places.
Ah, right. Well,
But you got any of those already? What with being the sailing type?
Well, I've got a bunch of navigation charts, but it sounds like what you want is atlases.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, they're books with a selection of maps in them. They should have actually some in the depository here, but are you looking for like world maps?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you went into a shop in like episode 3 and said, I want a book of all the maps, and you still haven't learnt the word atlas, and it's been looking in character. They literally told you the word with atlas during that, and I love that Scamp like still hasn't learned the word. It's really good. Anyway, continue. I'm so sorry.
Sometimes I don't remember things.
Well, I think possibly we should have a look in the local library.
In the
They may have
suppository.
Yes.
I will say that you have actually visited a bookshop before,
Let's go see the pug.
which does have atlases.
Would they have? Okay, yep, fine. I thought they were more like a printing press for pamphlets, but okay, cool.
We did buy books there.
Yes,
I've
yes,
got
they-
no money.
It is a combination. Yes, the Puggish Publishing Company is a combination bookshop and printing press. So they do print various pamphlets, but it does also include a bookshop down below. In fact, you bought a book on, I think, herbalism there
Yep.
for
For
Clara.
Clara.
We got Clara's birthday presents there.
Yes.
Yep.
Did, yeah.
Right, well, worth checking that out. Any idea where specifically you're looking for?
Nope.
All right, I suppose we'll know it when we see it then.
Nope. I just like to do with lots of places.
You're looking for the city, aren't you?
What's it? Oh. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's one of them things. I just feel like I need it. You know?
All right, well,
It's
if
like
I can help
like
you, I will.
Like it's like the diamond or the needing to pick up things from places. And I should say I did pinch a bit of that place. I don't know.
What
why.
place?
Where we just were with the meeting. I stole a quill.
Oh. I don't suppose I'll miss it.
Roll a sleight of hand check, please.
I'm actually decent at that. Where's my?
Yeah, better
18.
If their roofing tiles are missing, if they're worrying about a quill.
You were indeed able to pinch a quill without anyone noticing. Alright. You make your way through the streets to the Puggish Publishing Company bookshop.
Where's the pug?
And indeed, as you... it has survived much of the attack, surprisingly intact. Wasn't in the right area to get completely shelled. And indeed, as you enter, you see Inky the pug look up. And just sort of bound over to you and start slobbering at you.
Nice to see a familiar face.
Oh, what was that there? Well, you see, sitting up off the where she was behind the counter, is the pudgy red ragdoll-haired face of Tabby Cobblecutter, peering from behind a bottle glass like glasses. Like, oh, glad to see the pair of you made it out all right. Bit of a...
Yeah, you know us.
Yeah, glad you made it as well, Tabby.
Oh well, you know, I don't think I'd have made it if Inky hadn't been bravely fighting them off and savaging the enemy. No, he's worse than useless, aren't you? You're a useless little pug, aren't you?
I could imagine quite easily that he piddled on them, but
Oh, he did that as well.
probably after they were dead, though, right?
Oh, that's right. You don't respect you desecrate a corpse with your piss anytime, won't you? Won't you, you daft little creature?
It's adorable.
And yet somehow vaguely disturbing.
Yep.
So, what can I get you for?
Well, you wouldn't happen to have a geography section here. We're looking for some world atlases.
That we absolutely do. World atlases. Oh, I can get you. Let's see. there's got most recent I have is 1790. There's a world as it is known to the from I think it was Orcrest University Press. Let me just see if I can get it here. She goes through some of the shelves and comes back with 3 volumes. And you can see these are the proper ones with like fold-out maps in them. Okay, so you got your picture. You ordered the world. All the pink bits are the bits that Orceria owned. Then you can see that's quite a lot of it. And then we got all these bits, and you see how there's so we've got we've got Fernon here, and you see how there's like all of this bit has coastline, and then it just sort of peters off into nothing.
Yeah, there's just like an empty void in the middle.
We know there's probably coast. There's got to be coastline somewhere in between, and we know we've got it all off at the south because that's where what's his face, that halfling went round the world and proved it was round. But all that bit nobody's got to yet. Too many dinosaurs.
I like dinosaurs.
Well, I suppose that would. Yeah.
I'm sure they'd like you too for lunch.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many a cartographer who's ended up as the second course.
Well, there's. Well. Got those two. There's still those two little dots out there on Fernon. That's the only bit people have managed to actually settle. Any deeper, you get eaten by the dinosaurs.
All right. Well, Scamp, I don't know exactly what you're looking for here, but we've got to start somewhere, so it might as well be here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking for. I need to know about places.
Well, if you want to buy all three of these, it'll be 5 gold for the lot.
Corzin, I don't have any money.
Alright.
Fucking pay ourselves.
You see her slightly start pulling the books away.
That's alright, Corzin's got money.
And she pushes the back
Corzin
door
has
again.
4 gold pieces.
Celestia is not there.
I tell you what, how much just for this first one?
That'll be to set you back 2.
Alright, well, we'll take that now, and if you hold the other 2 for us?
Sure thing.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure I've written down some money somewhere, but I also think I might have just spent it all last time we went book shopping.
Or on
you
sweets.
haven't had money for a while.
You also keep forgetting to pay yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to buy
37
boats.
gold.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Well,
And in the next month,
we've
you
put
get
money
10,000.
down on boats now.
Well, Corzin's got 2 gold. That's a start. Just saying.
I mean, I have a magical bowl that could make me a whole bunch of very expensive alcohol that I could sell.
That's true.
But I
Yep.
don't, ever, for no reason.
Or just straight drugs.
Oh, yeah, no. They could,
No, we don't do the drugs.
Yeah, that could be... Well, that almost certainly will end very badly.
We have to
yes.
set a good example for Celestia.
Yeah. That's gonna help.
Well, if I become a drug dealer, that might be a little bit bad.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
Also, you do it for long enough, it's going to make it that much easier for Celestia to acquire drugs elsewhere.
You just had that brief
Yeah.
moment of weighing up, like by the pound. Maybe if we just filled this with refined red leaf. No.
I mean, it would be a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
anyway,
would.
Also, really bad though.
Just so bad.
Also, you can't have that many drugs around Celestia.
I swear, campaign 2.
She will just have some at some point.
Campaign 2 or 3. I'm gonna put long after most of the party are dead. and this this bowl has gone on a journey. I've got to have a crime gang whose whole deal is just having this bowl. That is their supply. This Dionysian artifact.
I mean, someone is going to use it for that at some point, surely.
Yeah.
That's a low to mid-level MacGuffin if ever I've heard one.
Yeah. No, definitely.
It's a shame cocoa doesn't have the same street value as red leaf.
I could sell hot chocolate, but then I don't get to drink the hot chocolate, and I just don't think I can live with that.
I can see your predicament there. Alright, well, don't worry about that for now. Now, if you want, once we're back at the ship, I can take you over how you'd apply the principles that go into making a map like this into the way that we navigate the ship. That way you should be able to figure out exactly where you are and where you're going and all the rest of it.
Okay. Or I could turn me and little Corzin into flying monkeys and we could fly around for a bit.
Yes, I was meaning to ask you about that. Now, you're going to have to be very honest with me now. How safe is this?
Maybe I stick to normal monkeys.
Possibly, see how he does on the ground first before giving him 3 dimensions to worry about. How's that?
He's flown before. What?
Yeah, but
true.
he's flown before with his own intelligence, not the intelligence.
Yeah,
Very true.
important point.
I mean, it's safe as long as I'm concentrating. That's the problem, isn't it?
Right, yeah. Now, Scamp.
Yes.
I am loath to deny him new experiences, but I also have to make sure that I'm doing my best to take care of him.
I know.
I know he'd probably love it, and one day, maybe.
Oh, it ain't getting any safer. But also, I will see what if he is up for being an animal for a bit, because I think he'll love it, frankly.
Yeah, well, I found being a whale the other day quite appealing.
It was great, wasn't it?
Maybe start with something a little bit smaller.
Or just something that doesn't go up to heights.
Cut to little Corzin as an ant.
I think my main concern is the fact that it'll be climbing or flying, and the falling is the potential worry.
Yes, this was my concern as well. You see, we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
Really, with regards to this.
How about a T-Rex?
Bit conspicuous, also lots and lots of breakable stuff.
True.
Also, I don't know that I can turn him into one because there is a limit based on the level of the creature you're turning.
Right, okay.
So, a little Corzin's 0.
Yeah, I'm going to say little Corzin is definitely not higher than level 1.
Could he be like a dog or something?
Yeah,
A pug.
You can be a dog. There's a maximum size of dog you can be.
Don't turn him into a pug.
The new form can be any beast whose challenge rating is equal to or less than the target's, but there are lots of animals with a challenge rating of 0, including a flying monkey.
I'd almost forgotten about that. I had been meaning to give him a ride on the back of Kerberos.
That would be fun.
Yeah. If you want to transform yourself into something, be my guest.
Dinosaur.
Also, the only reason I haven't up to this point is rather conspicuous, but I think, we're not going to get any more publicly known here, I don't think.
What about a diseased giant rat? No, that's not. Flying snake.
Why?
Flying snake, Corzin.
At this point, you're just You're just like literally talking about creatures you've heard stories of.
Yeah.
Again with the flying. Like,
I don't think
flying
you've
under
seen
his
a
own
flying snake.
power is one thing, but, being an animal does things to one's perceptions.
What about an octopus?
I suppose, on land they can't get that far. At least
The
not
ambivalent
fast.
octopus just sort of shrugs. Eh.
I mean, you got to admit, and he does turn to the ambivalent octopus. Like, it's a little bit more different when you're not in the ocean, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
What about-
the ambivalent octopus always seems to be floating around, in the air.
Yeah,
all in
I
the
always
distance.
imagine them kind of moving as if they are underwater.
Yeah, they're perpetually moving as if they're underwater. But like,
What, like a cross between a rabbit and a unicorn?
So, well, that's two very different sized creatures, Scamp.
Okay, well, just a rabbit with a horn then.
A horned rabbit. Well, I suppose if it's rabbit sized, that's not too bad.
Sure, it's rabbit.
I'm more
size.
thinking about, like, taking care of the breakables as much as everything else.
I will ask little Corzin what he would like, and I will not give him options that are too dangerous.
Thank you. Like I said, I'd prefer to supervise this if it's all the same to you, but I understand this is an exciting thing, and yeah.
and I feel like I just need to. This actually needs to be a jump cut too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to be a mosquito.
No.
A mosquito?
All right.
They can fly.
Okay. You don't want to be something.
Why a
bigger that
mosquito?
can fly? Yeah, why? But I've got to know.
I mean, you
why
say I
mosquito?
could turn into anything. Can you do it multiple times?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to.
Then I want
too
to be a
much 'cause,
mosquito. And then you're saying I could be like a horned rabbit.
Yes.
So that. And then something big. And then I want to be a puppy.
horse.
And then.
Now, Corzin, remember, this is very, very powerful magic here, so we've got to treat it with respect.
I want to be a golden retriever puppy specifically.
Okay.
All right, that's adorable.
He says as respectfully as he can. Like, does a little
What
bow.
about a giant snail?
A giant snake? Oh, snail. That works too.
Snail.
When have you seen one of those?
I haven't, but I've seen a snail, and I just like the idea of it being bigger.
Like, you have seen some. This is like your collection, your menagerie, conceivable menagerie is a mixture of things you've seen pictures of, and things you've heard sailors talk about.
Yep.
With all the encrusted salt around here, a slug or a snail is not going to do particularly well.
There's a lot of salt around here, isn't there?
Well, we're...
So much.
And he
Ma always
gestures
says-
broadly at the ocean.
What about
That's a good
sheep?
point.
I was a sheep once. It was fun.
Ooh, that does sound fun. Ma always says the trick for snails is beer.
That was the trick
Yes,
for
that's
a lot
very
of
true.
things.
And yes, that is also very true.
But Corzin thinks seriously for a moment. Mosquito first.
Okay.
All right, well, there's that open bit of ground up by the triangle. We can go up there, nice open space.
Yeah, you.
Is an open space what we want? Surely that's the opposite of what we want.
I was thinking. I was more presuming on the event of that's the mosquito was the first thing. Then there'll be a bunch of other things. But okay, yeah. if you're gonna go for a mosquito, do it on the ship first. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. Where exactly on the ship do you want to do this?
A room with no windows and a shut door, please.
So the sending room then.
Yep.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense.
Good luck if you get a sending in the middle of it.
Can Corzin do locate creature, by the way?
Yes, he can. And will if he has to. It is literally one of the only reasons why he's even considering this.
Mosquito is basically like the best thing you could have said, by the way. Like, congrats.
That's such an awful choice. I love it.
So weird.
Okay, you focus your magic. You you place a hand on little Corz's shoulder, and and you see like little planes of light appear around him, and it's as if for a moment little Corzin just shrinks astonishingly small as these tiny planes of light collapse down. And honestly, Corzin, you are able to see this because you have massively stereoscopic vision from all of from the multiple viewpoints. But you see
one of the only reasons why he's considering this.
This tiny little mosquito, like briefly haloed in golden light as it comes into existence.
It's so much trouble when Molly finds out.
And then just regular mosquito, and it's like. And 1 moment, you'll roll for this. It buzzes.
How long does this last again?
Buzzes over to
An
Scamp.
hour.
10 hours?
No, 1 hour.
Oh.
10 hours would be amazing.
Corzin, you see little Corzin like jam his proboscis into Scamp's skin. Scamp doesn't feel it. You just watch casually as like just settled on like unseen on the underside of Scamp's wrist. Little Corzin just drinks.
Corzin doesn't say this aloud, but internally he's saying, well, I don't know what they were expecting.
Just drinks a little bit of Scamp blood. And then proceeds to buzz off and starts flying around the room.
Okay, can I don't know if this would be a nature check or an arcana check, but what I mean, I must have some idea of this from when I was a whale. Yeah. What does the anything you consume when you're in a different polymorphed form do when you change back?
I mean, Scamp wasn't paying attention to all the fish, to all the krill they ate. But I suppose with your many eyes and passive perception, you would have seen the half-digested pile of krill that got left behind them when they left that form.
Oh, okay, so like there's going to be like a little drop of blood on the floor. Okay, fine, yeah.
But yeah,
so this means that little Corzin is a female mosquito, which is interesting.
Or little Corzin is a male mosquito that decided, sod it, I'm a mosquito. Mosquitoes drink blood. I want to give it a try.
Saying the equipment sounds wrong, but you know.
I don't know. I didn't know whether male mosquitoes are capable of drinking blood. I know that female mosquitoes do drink blood specifically for the proteins to produce egg sacs.
Yeah.
But Corzin is also Corzin, and therefore goes mosquito, blood, mosquito.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I want to know if they have.
That might not have been a thing known to biological science at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corzin just. I mean, Corzin is going to fly around in little circles until either the spell wears off or you stop concentrating. So basically, until you get bored or.
And Corzin is going to keep a number of his eyes very squarely focused on wherever little Corzin happens to be.
Yeah. By the way, Scamp, roll a perception check, please, because you don't have massively stereoscopic vision.
12.
Yeah, you lose track of little Corzin like almost immediately, and after a couple of minutes, like your the back of your wrist itches.
Oh,
you find you've got a bite there.
Well, I mean, honestly, what were you expecting?
Pretty much exactly this. Pretty much exactly this.
Right, well, no surprises then.
The Corzin is just like flying in little circles now around like the candle on the ceiling.
I address a little Corzin like, I hope you're having fun up there.
Little Corzin maybe responds in mosquito? You don't know.
Yeah, I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of ranger.
None of you have speak with mosquito, so...
Well, doesn't Scamp have to speak with animals?
Nope.
Okay.
I would talk to Jeffrey all the time.
Yes, if they wouldn't have talked to Jeffrey.
Yeah,
if they had to speak with
Oksana is the one with speak with animals.
Oh, of course, yes.
Only Oksana has ever spoken to Jeffrey directly. She knows a great many secrets.
That is delightful.
They were pretty good friends by the end of it. They chatted all the time.
How long... Actually, two important questions. Are Scamp... Are Scamp... Is Scamp Corzin in this room? Yes. Is Jeffrey and is Marjorie in this room?
No. Jeffrey is very much not in this room while little Corzin is any form that Jeffrey could eat.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like, that would be an absolute proviso of London.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, Jeffrey is in danger of exploding.
Jeffrey and Marjorie are both outside.
Yeah, because
They're having their own adventure somewhere.
as I understand it, if whilst in polymorphed form you drop to 0 hit points, you revert to whatever your original form was.
You know this from experience.
Yeah.
So, like, you know... I guess
That was more a reminder for myself out of character, but
one
yeah,
way to
Corzin has
bring your
actually
son back is
experienced
to
this.
smack the mosquito if you really wanted. But that's probably
I
not
mean,
good.
harsh, but also, yeah.
Or Scamp could just drop concentration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
This
How
is
long do you
fun.
leave? How long do you leave this going for?
An hour.
Okay, you spend an hour sat in this room with Corzin, while little Corzin just flies around.
Okay, Corzin is going to take the opportunity to go through the atlas with Scamp, because he has presumably enough eyes he can keep an eye on little Corzin simultaneously.
Oh yeah, you had like 5 eyes on little Corzin, and you need them. There is one moment. 50 minutes into this hour, the door opens as Auden comes through. Like, hey, sorry, I heard you were in there. There's lunch being served. Is that a mosquito?
Yes. but
Yeah,
it's
don't
fine.
touch it.
What?
Don't touch it. It's Scamp's responsibility.
Right. Okay.
New pets.
Oh, is this like that that bird of yours that changes around all the time?
Yes.
Sometimes it's a dog.
Yes.
No offense, Scamp, but you lead a very weird life.
Yes.
Well, he's not wrong there.
Right, I'll
Luncheon, is it?
yeah. There's
Right,
there's
we'll be
sandwiches.
along directly.
Right out. Closes the door behind him. One moment.
Anyone who knows Halfling knows that directly means a lot of things.
Corzin, roll a perception check.
Oh, crap.
Uh-oh.
Vision based, so with advantage?
Yep.
Okay, that is 16.
You look around. Can't see little Corzin.
Locate creature.
Yep. You cast it. It stops at the boundary of the sending room because because everything else in the ship is sanctumed.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right.
What you are able to tell is that he has left the room.
Right, I open the door, I go into the corridor.
I could just drop the spell if you like.
Yeah, drop the spell.
I'll do that.
Okay, you open the door. You see Auden's like climbing up to the about to head to the galley, and then suddenly, on his back, little Corzin just billows into existence. Hi, Auden.
Oh, hold on, Auden. Looks like you got a stowaway here. There we go. I pick him up again.
We love stowaways.
Carefully, he jumps a mile, but carefully lowers little Corzin down.
I pick little Corzin up again.
You're about as stealthy as your old man there. Thanks.
Now you apologise about that. That's not good to sneak up on people.
Sorry, Arden. That's alright. Sorry for drinking your blood. Wait, what? I was a mosquito. Right, I'm going to get lunch.
Yeah, we'll see you directly. Now, really, why did you have to go and do that?
I'm not really sure. It was really cool, but I just got really obsessed with this light, and it smelled good out there, and I wanted to go, so I did.
All right, well, you've experienced it now, so you understand how animal brain can take over a little bit. That's something you got to bear in mind whenever anything like this happens. The important thing to remember, though, is you're still you fundamentally.
Sorry for drinking your blood, Scamp.
Did it taste good?
Well, what do you say we get some proper lunch in us?
Yeah.
Little Corzin happily trumps off to the galley.
Right, I follow close behind.
Having been a mosquito, little Corzin is more than happy to take on to just try a bunch of different, more classical animal forms.
Okay.
After this, and you
under close supervision of either myself or Molly, this will happen, but only under those circumstances.
I mean, she probably won't mind puppies.
Yeah, Molly is. Do you tell Molly about the mosquito incident?
No.
I do very carefully.
Oh no! Good luck.
After Molly just
Do you want to hand the DM your character sheet?
Molly gives you and Scamp a low-level look and says, "No more insects."
No, understandable. But yeah,
Golden Retriever sounds fun.
Yeah, well, I was fairly confident that no harm would come to him if one of us was there, just to make sure he stayed out of trouble.
No, I know you. I'm certain he was in no danger, and that's why you still have your bollocks.
Thank you, dear.
That's all right.
I give her a kiss.
Ellie just made little eye rings around her eyes. Yeah, you basically, I guess, you basically spend much of the rest of the day trying out different forms. If you want. You're little Corzin is excited to be a dog and an octopus, and to ride Kerberos around the fields of the island.
We definitely do that.
He's actually also quite excited to race after Kerberos in the form of a dog.
Yep. Now that is a place we're going to need a wide open space for.
Oh yeah, and in
centuries to come, this part of the city may become a dog park.
We don't talk about the dog park.
No.
Don't think about the dog park.
We do not approach the dog park.
But you are able to have a lovely rest of the day.
Do I get an opportunity to speak to Fighty at any point?
Yes. Yeah, I'll say that you do. It's quite easy to find Fighty. He still has been renting out cabin space. Well, I mean, like technically, he's been doing some work like aboard the rent out cabin space and ship. But you do see that he is in the process at the moment of negotiating for a room above some shop, above a local seamstress's shop, and seems to be considering setting up business. Nevertheless, when you come to approach him, Corzin, Scamp, good to see you both.
Hello.
And good to see you too. I'm glad to see the excitement hasn't left you any the worse for wear.
You know how it is. As I said before, battle's not really my thing, but
bar fight's definitely your thing.
Glad to say I was able to give and take a little bit when it got into the streets, but not really a muskets and rifles sort of person.
Fair enough. You got any interesting projects on the go?
Well, right now, I'm actually just doing just got a lot of general work going, but was actually something I wanted to bring to mind. Scamp.
Yeah?
Looks whoever. Scamp, you wear the waist. It's not the waistcoat. It's the cloak you have that was made from the shadow stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. It seems to me that you get into a lot of scraps, and you tend to be. Well, no offense, but you don't exactly have a lot besides my very excellent tailoring between you and the elements.
Well,
and
yeah,
I'm fresh out of materials for it, but I do remember something that actually came to. I was just starting to chat with some of your crew, and in particular, there was someone talking about. God, what's the word I'm looking for? Frankly, some leeches you'd landed on. Overheard something about a manor?
Yeah, we've got a
or
house
mansion.
apparently.
Sorry.
Somewhere.
Do you remember the name of it?
Wayne Manor?
Yeah,
That's
it was a stupid name.
No, I remember now. I was here. That would be probably. Must be like 10, 15 years back. I did a commission for a Mr. and Mrs. Wayne. And that was for a set of low-profile armour. Actually. Something that would fit something that would fit comfortably under your clothes. It's a bit of complex work. Had to do some complicated bits and bobs, and there were pieces from a particularly nasty large winged creature. But that is actually they had something that would be just exactly about what you're looking for. Sadly, I don't have the parts for that to make something like that, and it's kind of a one-off occasion. But if you got access to their manor and they're not still around, maybe they've still got that suit somewhere.
Am I going to get a Batman suit? Because that's amazing.
Yeah, I think you are. Also, out of character, just a quick clarification. Was there something that Fighty mentioned to us a while back that it was a job we could do for him, or was that the last little Dreamfold escapade.
That was the little Dreamfold escapade, I believe it was.
Right, yeah.
It was the
I am remembering correctly then. Cool,
making the Conjure Nightmare Fire Elemental shirt, jacket lining.
Yep.
But no, if you are that. Otherwise, I'm actually going to be booked up for a little while. But if you come across any very interesting materials, as always, and you want me to sew them up into something for you, let me know.
Well, I'd be very pleased to.
Probably going to hang out here in Newmarket for a little while yet. There's going to be plenty
they can't keep a good tailor down.
Oh, they try. Right. I'm sure I'll see you around, and I'm always staying for a drink and a fight with a pair of yous.
Excellent. I give him a firm shake of the hand.
And he returns it cheerfully and playfully, sort of shoves his head as if to give you a nut, but stops short. And with that, you say your farewells and honestly carry on with your day. And I think we might actually this. You know what? We had a long episode last time. Let's call this to an end for tonight. So next time we'll get back to the rest of the 24th and your day off there. But for now, thank you all very much for playing. Thank you all very much for listening. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s. If I could have another drink, I would not need to stop and think. My ring, it keeps me sober still, so I must needs push on by will.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.